Okay, does this work? Can you guys hear me? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. Okay, well, that's annoying. Now I'm wearing my headphones. Okay, well, we're just gonna have to go with it because this is annoying. This is so unprofessional. Yay. Thanks, guys. I can hear you. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to wear my headphones. So, although I don't need to wear the headphones, do I? Because technically, I'm not listening to anything. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it here. Actually, you know, what? I'm gonna put it under my ear, under my hijab, because then it looks. There you go. So it doesn't look dodgy. Now it just looks weird. Alright, let me just leave it in front. Okay. Alright, well, this is how it's gonna have to be because I obviously don't know how to figure out my sound and I don't want to keep going on and off again. So I'm gonna have to do my video with headphones on. So apologies in advance for this video with headphones on. This is not how I wanted to do it, and it still isn't how I want to do it actually. What does one do in this situation? Wait, how about this? Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? I don't want to wear my headphones. It looks so bad. Put headphones on. Yeah. Is it clear? Is it clear? Can you clearly hear me? Or should I like talk to my headphones? You know what? I might try. Where's my phone? Where is my phone? Who else does that? Just I have note of those on my lap. Maybe I'll go live on my phone. It's the same? Okay, perfect. All right then, fine. I'll just keep going then. Okay, so hi everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Let me just move my headphones away. So let me know if the sound plays up or anything like that because I will rectify it. So the topic of today's video is how to write a successful PhD or master's proposal. And I've been, obviously, as you guys probably know, I don't know if you are following me properly, but if you see my videos, I do post a video every single day, and it is hard because obviously I post a video and then I have to edit it and I have to do a thumbnail, all this stuff. So for today, I thought I would just do a live because it just means that it saves me the editing time. I can just do the live, sit here for 15-20 minutes and just talk through something, and then that's that. And I might do like lives in the future as well if this goes well and if I manage to sort out my sound, where I can do like Q&As, things like that. Oh, perfect, great. So I'm going to go straight into it and not answer questions, but talk about how you'd write a successful master's or PhD proposal. And if you do want a proper sit down video where I show you examples as well, then I can definitely do that. But I thought I would just go through it here on using my notes that I have written. I'm prepared. So thing number one you need to do, the first thing you need to do is explain the background of your topic in a few sentences. So you have obviously chosen a PhD that you're interested in doing, or a master's, or any program that you're interested in doing. So the first thing you need to do in your proposal is mention what topic it is that you are interested in and the background of your topic. So although, yes, that supervisor is qualified in that specific field, but it's always nice for them to see your interest and how much you know. So let's say, for example, I'm reading your questions and you said, what did you graduate in? I graduated in cell and developmental biology. So if I was writing a PhD proposal for that topic, I would say something about how cell and developmental biology is paramount and it's kind of key to the work, like all of biology essentially, the way that our body works, the way that everything functions. And that's why I'm so interested in it, because it's such a fundamental part of the body. You know, just a few kind of sentences to open the cover letter or the proposal essentially. And then the second part is you want to explain what's missing in the field and why there is a need for more research, and then go on to talk about what you want to look at. So in my field, obviously you have to do a bit of research to know what's missing, but in my field there isn't a good kind of relationship that's known about actin and myosin, the two proteins that are in the cell, and how they interact. So to be able to say like, okay, fine, I know that cell developmental biology is super important. However, I also know that there is missing information in the body that we don't know about this interaction or this relationship or whatever it is that you're interested in talking about. And that is what I want to look into in further detail, if possible. And yeah, that is the second thing. So you start off by talking about the background, then you go on to talking about what's missing in the field, because a PhD or a master's, the basis of it is finding new information. Now, this is something that people always mention to me all the time. Like, what is a PhD? Like, what does it mean? And it means that you found something that no one else knows or no one else has discovered. That is what it is. You cannot get a PhD and graduate without finding something that no one knows. So the information that I find, the information that so-and-so finds, every part of it is brand new information. So you need to mention what's missing in the field and how that information is going to bring some advantage or some more knowledge to that field. So that's thing number 2. Then number 3, you need to describe your aims and your hypothesis. And by doing that, you need to be very concise and specific. So you are aiming to, so I'm kind of discussing the STEM field, so kind of science, technology, like engineering and maths. Obviously, it's different if you're doing English or humanities, but you want to describe your aims and your hypothesis. So you think that by looking at this interaction, you will discover a new pathway that might help in further understanding, I don't know, cancer or whatever. Obviously, they're all different. So some sort of hypothesis. It can be a sentence or two, just something to kind of discuss your aims and what it is that you are hoping to get out of the research. So that's number 3. Number 4, oh, perfect. Number 4, explain the methodology and justify what you'll be doing and why. So like this one is a bit of a hard one, because you haven't entered into the research or whatever it is that you're doing, but you're expected to write some sort of method. And now that's not going to be, just because you've written it down in your proposal doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to do it. I wrote down that I would love to do this microscopy and this and that, but when you enter the lab, your supervisor has a different idea. But that's fine. I think the whole idea of a proposal is to see how much you know, to see how much you can extrapolate, how much you can find out independently. Your supervisor is there to help you. If you know everything, what's the point of doing a PhD? What's the point of doing a master's? What's the point of going to education? I think the proposal is there more to show your enthusiasm, your eagerness, how interested you are on the topic, and how much you can go and do some research, find something, even if it has nothing to do with it. At least you've kind of related it in some sense, and kind of impress the person that you're emailing, the person that you're writing this to, and try to justify what you'll be doing. So let's say, for example, I want to look into the interaction between 2 proteins, and that's what I'm writing this proposal about. Just do some research. Like, it doesn't take that long. If you write down methods to find out whether 2 proteins interact, you'll find protein-protein interaction methods, you'll find Western blots, you'll find microscopy, and you can just mention one of them and say, I would love to do microscopy because I think it's a great way of identifying interactions between 2 proteins, and it's been shown before, and blah, 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 blah. And even if they don't have a microscope in that lab, that's fine, because that supervisor has seen that you are able to find some information and then use that to explain what you want to do. And it's just more to understand the methods and show that you're kind of doing some extra reading, I guess. So yeah, number 4 is explain the methodology. And then number 5 is reference other people's work. So you want to, headphones gone far away. So you want to show that you've done your reading. So you want to say, okay, so I want to show that these 2 proteins interact. And so far in the literature, these 2 proteins haven't been shown to interact, or maybe this protein has been shown to interact with a different protein, but I believe that those 2 interact because da 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 da. And you kind of want to show that you've done your reading. Now, the websites you want to use for this are pubmed.com, and also you could use Mendeley, you can use Google Scholar, you could use, I think it's called Science Direct. There's quite a few different ones. I will leave them in the description when I finish this video. But you can search for 2 keywords and then find loads of papers and just read 1 or 2 of them and mention them and reference them using Harvard referencing, because it's kind of like one of those things that you do like to show off to your teacher, right? You just Harvard reference it and be like, look, I know how to Harvard reference. It just looks good, and I think the supervisor will be impressed by that. Yeah, so essentially you're just showing evidence of being an academic, because being a researcher and being a scientist or whatever field it is that you're in it's beyond primary school and secondary school where you have textbooks. It's beyond that. You need to show that you're doing your reading, you're in you're part of the literature, essentially. You're part of the community of people that are reading this literature. So I think that looks really good. And then number 6 is explain how your research will be used or applied. So again, this really depends on what topic it is that you're doing. But I would say my research will be used in order to enhance the knowledge of other researchers who are looking into axin and myosin, and this will help them to develop a drug, or this will help them understand the pathway, or whatever it is. And if you're developing a new software or if you're developing a new technique, you could describe that technique as well and how that be used, and essentially how is this going to benefit anyone, basically. It's really important to realize that about your work. And then number 7, so far you probably realized that we haven't talked about me or you at all. All we've discussed is a topic, what you're interested in, but now you need to talk about you. Why are you the person that he or she is going to select? Why should I pick you? So that's number 7. Explain why you are the one for this post. What are your unique capabilities? What experience have you done? What's your evidence? So if you're applying for a PhD, have you done a master's? Did you get a distinction? Did you publish a paper? If you are applying for a master's, what have you done during your undergrad? Did you do a summer placement? Did you do an internship? Did you do what did you do, basically? Why should I pick you? Sell yourself. In this part, you sell yourself. Like, you literally say what you've done, but make sure it's relevant. There's no point in being like, oh yeah, I can ride a bike. How's it going to help in research? Not going to help at all. You need to discuss things that are related to your research. So even if it's not necessary, let's say you are applying for a master's, but you haven't done any experience in the lab, that's fine, but you can kind of discuss things that you have read. So you might have or done. So you might say, I have read a lot about this scientist, and I would love to start looking into his work or her work. And I haven't got the experience yet, but I have done an undergraduate in this degree, and therefore I've learned about the techniques. And you kind of talk about things in a way that enhances yourself, right? And sometimes blow yourself up a little bit, make it a little bit more exaggerated, rough it up a little bit. You don't lie, don't say you've done a placement when you haven't. But if you've maybe be in the lab for 1 day, you don't have to say 1 day, just say I spent some time in the lab. You don't have to specify it. But if you have done like 6 months, then specify that. Say like I've done 6 months, because that looks really good. But if you haven't done that long, you don't have to say how long it's been, just say I was in the lab. Okay, and the last point, almost done. The last point is mention why you wish to study there. And maybe, so if the lab has specific, like if the lab has a really good name and reputation, let's say that mentor or professor or supervisor is the best in that field, mention that. If UCL or whatever university it is a top in research, then mention that. If I don't know, whatever it is that makes you want to apply to that university. Let's say you're applying from Spain and you want to come to London. You can say that I love London, I love the city, I've been here before, and kind of show that you have passion in that university. Bear in mind that that professor, that supervisor obviously is working at university or that institute, so they must like it to some extent. So by talking up a little bit, it's an ego thing, isn't it? Like you're going to the best university ever. And it just looks good and it sounds good and it shows that you are passionate about where you are as well as what you're going to do. So let me summarize that, because that's that. I believe that this should be between 1,000 to 2,000 words. Usually you are given a limit, but sometimes you won't, and you'll just be asked to write a proposal, a cover letter. And I would say stick to 1,000 to 2,000 words, not too long. This is one situation where quality is better than quantity. You can write 5,000 words and not even hit one point about why you're good for it. And at the same time, you can write 2,000 words and smash it. So let me just summarize that. And again, I'll write down the summary in the description bar when I publish this video. So number one, you want to explain the background of your topic in a few sentences. Number two, you want to explain what's missing in the field, and why there is a need for that research, or why there is a need for whatever it is that you want to do. Number three, describe your aims and hypothesis. Try to be very concise, so limit that to, kind of 2 sentences maybe. Number four, explain the method, the methodology, and justify what you'll be doing and why. So have a little think about how you're going to carry out your experiment. Number five, give some reference of other people's work and try to give evidence to support what it is that you want to do. And for that, you can use Google Scholar, PubMed, any peer-reviewed journals. Number six, explain how your research will be used and applied in life by other researchers, by other scientists, by other teachers, by other whatever. Explain how it's going to be used and applied in life. Number seven, explain why you are the one that they should pick. Why are you the one who they should select? What unique capabilities do you have? And this is also, what experience do you have as well? And last but not least, mention why you want to study at that institute or that university, and what is the reputation of the university. So you might want to talk about why that university is somewhere that you want to study at, why that particular, let's say for example, you're going to a university you are applying to a university that's not the best university. That's fine, but that lab might be the only one in London that's doing that topic, or that lab might be the only lab in the world that's looking at that particular topic. So that's why you want to go there, and you're super excited about that. Or you might say that you recently were reading a journal and you came across that paper, and that's why you want to go there, because you love the work they're doing. Like, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be that this is the best uni in the world. It doesn't have to be that. So yeah, I hope that helps. So let me look at the questions now and try to answer some questions as I go. And I don't want this to be too long. So it's been 20 minutes so far, so I'll do another 10 minutes and then log out. But thank you so much to everyone that's been here on this live. It's been a real pleasure. I can see all your comments, but I haven't gone through them yet. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone that's here. It's been really nice. I was a bit kind of nervous about and anxious about coming on, because I'm so used to editing my videos and like chopping out my ums and my uhs and my e's and my coughs and sneezes. So it's nice to just be comfortable and just be live on YouTube. So let's see. What do we have? So yes, you can hear me. That's fantastic. Oops, let me bring this closer. It's interesting. My proposal for January. Great. Oh, also I was going to say, I do check personal statements, proposals, all that stuff. So then my email address is iaminaplace@gmail.com. Almost forgot it. So yeah, send me a message there and I can check it for you. Obviously there is a cost. I used to do it for free, but I ended up spending all my time doing it, and I'm glad, but kind of a bit unfair, isn't it, if I'm spending all my time doing that and not getting anything out of it. Useful information so far, great. Yeah, my supervisor changed my method so much. I know, like, that's the thing, you can write a method, but when you actually enter the lab or enter whatever it is that you'll go, the group, you're not going to do what you think. And also, I'm sure that now that you've done it, you realize that actually your method that you proposed was not necessarily the best. It's funny because, like, when I think of how I thought 5 years ago and how I think at the end of my PhD is totally different, and I know that I wouldn't have done great if I did it the way that I wanted to do it. Is it best to do your master's somewhere different to your undergrad? I would say yes, because I did, although I didn't want to. I wanted to do my undergrad and my master's at the same. Actually, did I want to? I don't know. I didn't really have a preference, but I would say yes. It not only does it help in terms of showing variety, which is what you said, but it also means that you have lots of contacts. So now I've got people that I know at King's, I've got people that I know at UCL, and I've got people that I know at Imperial. And that really helps. And it also means that if you choose to do, let's say you do your undergrad and then you really don't like your uni very much, or you're not quite sure about a different uni, you can go to a different uni, do a year there, and then see how you feel, and then do a year somewhere else. So it's variety, it's change for yourself as well, and I think it's a good idea to change. Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea. From my experience, for PGCE personal statements, make sure you write why you want to do it and sound confident. Yeah, exactly. Well done. That's a good point. I definitely think that you need to say how, like, tailor this. So what I've said, tailor it to what you're applying to. So applying to a PGCE is totally different to applying to a lab, because when you're applying to a lab, you need to show that you've got experience with working in a lab, whereas when you're applying for a PGCE, you need to show experience that you've got working with kids or working with young people, or that you've got passion in being in a school or whatever. So they're totally different. But it's definitely, I've actually done a PGCE. I'm not sure if you guys know. I want to talk about it more as the weeks go. But I did a PGCE last year, and I'm graduating this next year. Yeah, like it was definitely something that I enjoyed, and I did it very differently to how typically traditionally it's done. But I'll talk about that in a different video. So yeah. How do you use EndNote for referencing? Okay, so EndNote isn't something that I ever used, and it's something that a lot of people that did use it didn't necessarily find very well, actually, it depends. It depends. Some people loved it and found it intuitive. Others didn't necessarily find it that great to use. So it really depends, but I didn't use it, so sorry. It's nice to meet you in the live chat. Hey, definitely useful advice. Thank you, Bashara. Hi, Dr. Yonis. Hello. Hello. Is this when applying for university? Well, yes, you can either use this for applying to university. You can definitely use this method for applying to university, but you can also, this particularly is for applying to a research like PhD or master's course. But you can use the same essentially it's the same technique really, but applying to uni is a little bit different. So yeah. How much do you charge per page to review statements? I charge per 1,000 words, and it depends on how the style that you want. So if you send me an email, I can send you an example of 2 different styles, editing styles. So first style is simple academic editing, where I'll change your English, I will make a few comments here and there, change your grammar, make it make sense academically. But then the second style is heavy editing, where I actually change sentences. So I'll take a sentence that you've written and make it sound better by changing the whole sentences. So it depends on which style you want. So if you're interested, please send me an email, and I will send you the samples of both of them. How to stay motivated during the long periods of doing a PhD. I lost motivation. Oh no. Oh, okay. Yeah, so how to stay motivated. There was a point in between my first and second year where I was like, why did I do this? Like, I don't understand why. And I kind of fell out of love with it. And then I fell in love with it again afterwards when I started the vlogs and stuff. But I feel like a lot of it comes down to not seeing results. And as humans, as people in general, we're used to seeing things happen quite quickly, especially now. Now that we have social media and all these things, we see people get these successes overnight. and have all these things overnight and do things really quickly, when really we don't realize that things take time. And one thing that when I first started in the lab, I'm a very quick, fast-paced person. I want things to happen. I do things. I get things done. Brother just called me. I do things. I get things done. I'm very like go, go, go. So when I started the lab, I thought to myself, like, this is not working. I'm not doing well here. I'm not succeeding. Things are not going great. I lost motivation. There was a deadly summer where everything got infected. The microscope stopped working. Like, it was just like annoying. Everything was just annoying and nothing was working. And I think just not having results 1.5 years in, 2 years in, not having like solid results made me feel like, is this really something that I want to do? But then I think so you're saying second year, which was kind of around the same time as I did as well, because when you first start in the lab, you're all like, honeymoon period, like you're learning things and, you're a PhD student and blah, 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 blah. And then you get to the second year and you're like, oh crap, I've got a year left and I don't have results. I haven't written my thesis. I haven't done anything. So to answer your question, I would say stick it out, in the sense that remind yourself that a PhD is something that you're looking at for 3 to 4 years. I don't know what country you're in, but 3 to 4 years in the UK. And things happen very quickly towards the end. So one thing that I found during my master's and also during my PhD, things go really slow. And then in the last 2-3 months, everything is discovered. You've got results for everything. Everything's working. You're like, if this happened during the first 2 years, I would like have a Nobel Prize by now. But that's what happens, and that's what I saw happened to everyone in my lab. A lot of people had a very similar thing where during the first 2 years, 2.5 years, it was just depressing and demotivating, to say the least. But then in their final year, they all graduated. But in their final year, that's when they found everything. That's when everything kind of came together. So I think you don't notice how much you're doing during those 2 years, but then in your final year, it will kind of come together and it will hopefully be okay. So don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Promise. In the USA, you don't need a master's to apply to PhD. So in the UK, you do not need a master's. You don't need a master's. However, it is pleasurable to have one, and it is something that supervisors do look for. But if you, for example, did an undergraduate and then you did like a year of experience or 6 months of experience or a couple months of experience, or you go to a lab that just doesn't really care for a master's or experience, sure, you can apply to one, no worries. But it's more likely that you do need a PhD than you don't, that you do need a master's than you don't. Yeah, that's just how it works. I think they do look for a master's, but you don't need a master's to get in. Do you like working with the kids in your job, and how much do you get paid working for school? Yeah, I love working with the kids in my job. Like I feel like when you see small changes, like someone get something right that you didn't think that they would get, or someone finally understand something after a couple lessons, just kind of this their success makes me feel good, like knowing that they feel good and they say like, this is my favorite lesson, or like, this is I'm enjoying this, or they do well in their exams and they feel happy, or they understand, like their progress is what makes me feel good. So yeah, I love it. And how much do you get paid for? I'm not gonna tell you how much you get paid, but it's because my scheme is different. So I'm not on a typical teaching scheme. I'm on a teaching and research scheme. So I'd have time off in a school where I go to university, or I can work from home and I research and I do other things not related to work, not related to school. So yeah, it's totally different scheme. So I don't get paid what an average teacher gets. I get more than that, but I'm not telling you how much I get paid. If you want to become a teacher, do you have to have a master's? No, you just need an undergraduate, and then you do a PGC, which is a postgraduate certificate in education, and then yeah, does it matter at which university you do your master's? Kind of, and yes and no. So yes, it matters. To say that you went to Imperial and did a master's, to say that you went to, I don't know, LSE or King's or UCL, whatever, it's to say that you went there looks really good. But then if you can't sit there and back it up and write a good statement and write a good proposal and speak well, then it doesn't matter. You can go to Cambridge, you can go to Oxford. If you can't write a proposal and explain why you want to be in that program, then it doesn't matter where you go. Just because you got a just because you have a master's from Cambridge, it doesn't automatically guarantee your success in anything you apply to. So it helps, but then it doesn't mean anything really technically. Yeah. If you want to become a teacher, do you have? Oh no, I meant that. How to learn to write academically. I'm good, but I want to make it perfect. Okay, so my siblings always ask me about this all the time because they're always like, how do you write so well? They don't understand how I'm so good at writing. And I feel like it just comes from experience. Like, I know this is like not the answer that you guys want to hear, but I feel like it comes from doing it a lot. So always writing, always picking up things to read, always having, like, I write all the time. Like, everything I do is pen on paper. Like, I always write. And I think a lot of people have lost the art of writing. And I think that's really sad. Like, I personally think it's very sad that we don't write anymore. Like, I genuinely feel like that's one of the biggest losses of this 21st century. Like, the fact that we don't write anymore, our calendars are on our phones, we don't post letters or postcards. Everything's so technical and digitalized, and I don't like that. That's something I don't like. And I'm not even old. Like, I'm someone who was born in the digital, age, whatever. But I think actually putting pen on paper and visually seeing the way that you write something and not just having autocorrect change it for you on your phones or whatever has a big impact on that. I'm always someone who writes. Like, I love to write pen on paper. If I'm planning something, I'll write it down before I put it on my phone. So yeah, I feel like that just really helps. But like I said, like, I have a proofreading service. So if you do want me to check your essays or anything, then do email me and let me know. As a medical lab intern, I find it difficult to decide whether to do a master's or work in hospital. Depends what you want to do afterwards. So if you, for example, want to do a PhD, then obviously working in a lab is more beneficial. But if you want to maybe go into medicine, or if you want to, I don't know, if it makes you make more money in the hospital or something, I don't know, it depends on your circumstance. But think about the skills that you're going to acquire from both places and try to determine which one's better for where you want to go. How do you stay motivated when things get hard? I just think about, like, I think about, I'm not perfect, like, I'm not always motivated, but I do always think about, like, where I see myself. And I think people think that, you got your head screwed on, you know exactly what you want to do, but I honestly don't. Like, I don't know whether in 10 years time I want to be a lecturer, I want to, I don't know, stay in academia, stay in education. I don't know if I want to go back to research. I don't know if I want to go into policy. Like, I want to do a master's in policy. I actually want to do a master's in public policy. So badly, I kind of want to go into politics and, like, education and stuff. So I don't know if I want to do that. I also don't know whether I want to just, like, have my own business, and obviously, inshallah, I want to have kids and stuff. So I don't know whether I want to try to think about something that will mean that I can be at home, or have flexibility, that I don't have to be, like, at a job 9 to 5, because at the end of the day, like, I do want to raise my children, so I don't necessarily want to, I don't know, this is the thing, I don't know. So when I stay motivated, I just think to myself, like, I want to give myself the best chance of finding the thing that I want to do and the thing that I enjoy the most. And I enjoy the things, I enjoy a lot of things. So for me personally, like, that keeps me motivated, knowing that by just doing the best at what I'm doing now, that will lead me to wherever I want to go, or wherever I'm going to go. And yeah, I just think about, I also think about, like, I traveled to Ethiopia quite a bit. I was there this year, I was there 2 years ago, I was there, like, 4 years ago as well, I think. Like, I go, like, every other year. And just seeing people there, like, they're not disadvantaged at all. they've got great education in Ethiopia anyway. They've got a great education, things like that. But the opportunities that we have here are unparalleled. Like unparalleled, is that a word? They're just not the same. They're just not the same at all. And knowing that if my parents had stayed there, I would be in that situation where I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I have today. That gives me that motivates me, knowing that I'm here and I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky to have a roof over my head, the things that I have, the safety that I have, the family that I have, that motivates me as well. And I guess, yeah, that's probably it, basically. Yeah. And I just think in general, like I'm quite a positive, optimistic person. So I always just think to myself, all right, today wasn't a great motivation. Today wasn't a great day. Didn't get much done. Lower motivation. Just start tomorrow. Like no big deal. Time isn't gonna go anywhere. Well, it is, but as in like, you know, it just start tomorrow. Like it's not a big deal. You have 365 days. Don't kill yourself over one day. It's not a big deal. You're so sweet. Thanks for answering. Oh, thank you. What's your undergrad? Okay, so my undergrad is biochem. My my master's is biomedical research. So specializing in neuroscience and cancer research. And then my PhD was cancer biology. So cancer biology. I'm applying to a PhD in neuroscience. I've got a degree in psychology. Okay, that's good. Do you have advice on how to emphasize on why you want to change your discipline? That's not a change. How's that a change? If your degree is in psychology, that is neuroscience. That is the social side of neuroscience. So yeah, I don't think that's at all a change. I think you should just mention the fact that you enjoyed psychology, and obviously I'm sure that you did modules in neuroscience. I'm sure that you learned, because I did a neuroscience module as well, and I did neuroscience in my one of my research blocks. What's it called? Research 6 months in my master's. So yeah, it's not a change at all. Like you can just mention the fact that you want to go from being connected to the social side to understanding the biological aspects of research, and to charge my yeah, and that's why. So yeah, but okay, so my battery's gonna die soonish, and I've been on here for 38 minutes now, so I think it's time for me to call quits. I really enjoyed being here, and I definitely want to do it again soon. Please don't forget to follow me on my social media. My Instagram is simply_Amina, and I would love to do this again. Drop me a message and let me know when you prefer. This seems like a good time. There was loads of you online, but yeah, I'd definitely love to do it again. This was so much fun, like so much fun. I'm so geeky, but I love talking about education, and I love helping you guys. I feel like it's so beneficial, like the fact that, you know, I know that I'm never going to be rich and famous from YouTube. Like that's not my goal. There's no makeup company that's going to send me makeup and you know, pay me lots of money to do this. For me, my payment is knowing that you guys are educated better than I was, and you guys know how to apply to things, and you guys know how to you know, get into places that you might not necessarily think that you're able to. And one thing before I go that I'm starting to do from, I don't know, maybe I'll post the video tomorrow or Thursday, I'm not sure, but I'm going to start it this week, is kind of like a job hunt / PhD hunt. So I'm going to start posting the top PhD positions that I'm finding online, and hopefully you guys can apply for them. So I've already found 10 PhD programs that I think are amazing, and I feel like you guys should apply for them. The deadline is in January, and I'll be posting all of them online this week. So hopefully that helps, and let me know if you guys want to see that every single month, like an updated job hunt video. I think that'd be super cool. So yeah, anyways, that's me and my headphones. And I'll speak to you all soon. I wish you all the best day, best of health, great evening. I'm gonna get changed now and think about dinner, because my husband's he's a bit late, but he should be home anytime soon. So I'll speak to you all soon, and I will catch you soon. I said soon so many times. I'll speak to you soon. See, this is the thing, guys. I'm used to editing my videos, so I'll just cut that bit out. But yeah, I'll speak to you all soon, and have a great day. Bye.